So today we're going to talk about chord substitution. I call them simple subs or simple substitutions for the original chord chart. Anyhow, we're going to use just friends as an example chart, and let's get started. Okay, so what am I doing? Well, what I'm doing for the first four measures is I'm taking the original music score down below, C major 7, and in place of that I'm playing So what's the difference? Well, obviously there's a few extra chords there, and I'm using the C6-9 for the second measure instead of just playing a C major 7 twice, which is kind of boring. I'll throw in a C6-9, which adds a little more color to the sound. On the third measure, C minor 7, I'll just simply do a C minor 11, which is hardly noticeable, but slightly, and then F7, I'll do an F13. So therefore it sounds like and it adds a little more color to the chart and makes it sound more interesting. So let's look at the next four bars. Measures 5 through 8, I'm doing G major 7, and this is the original chart, and then B flat minor 7, and in place of that I'm doing a G major 7 to a G6-9, a B flat minor 7, and then I'm doing an E flat 7 and then E flat 7 flat 9 in one measure. So I'm doing 2 beats for each. So that sounds a little bit better than just doing straight 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead I'm going 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, it has a little more movement in the sound. Okay, let's look at the next measure. Measure 9 through 12. The chart has A minor 7 to D7, B minor 7 to E minor 7, and in place of that I'm doing A minor 7, D13, okay, B minor 11, and then E minor 9. That's quite a dramatic difference from the original, which was doing this. So there we have the next four. Let's do the next four measures. Measures 13 through 16. Okay, now on A7, the original, A minor 7, D7, D flat 7. Okay, I'm just making a few alterations, not much, a little bit. A7 I'm doing like this, I'm leaving out the fifth, just playing that. A lot of the old school players like to leave out the fifth of a chord because they think it sounds better, and I have to agree, a lot of times it does sound better. Instead of doing a big, a lot of people call those cowboy chords, you just play like that, and then A augmented seventh as a substitution for A7 in the second measure. Third measure, just A minor 7. And here we go with the D13 again. And then D flat 13. And that sounds kind of exciting because of what you're going to be doing next is, so let's kind of slide into, okay, measures 17 through 20. I'm doing C major 7 originally, C minor 7, F7. Now in place of that, I'm doing a C6, okay, which is a direct replacement for a C major 7. Then I'm going all the way at the 10th fret and going, which is a C major 7 way up high, and then C minor 11 instead of the C minor 7, and then F7 flat 9. Okay, so I'm playing C minor 11, okay, it's quite a difference. You could also do a C minor 11 to a B7 flat 5 if you wanted to, instead of the F7 flat 9. So you could do this. Okay. Measures 21 through 24. We have G major 7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, and in place of that I'm doing G major 7 instead of the G major 7. Doing it like this, then going a little higher up the neck, doing a G6 9, and then doing a B flat minor 9th instead of a B flat minor 7, and then an E flat dominant 9th instead of an E flat 7. Okay. So it's a little bit, instead of that we're doing this, then we're doing this, then we're doing this, and then an E flat 9, which you could also do if you want to. Anyhow, the flat 9s always sound pretty good with jazz tunes. Okay, so for measures 25 through 28, we have A minor 7, D7, B minor 7, E minor 7. And now we're doing something really simple, A minor 7 with one finger, and then D11 with one finger. Not much difference there. And then B minor 7, and then E minor 11. Okay, so that's really simple. Hardly any movement there at all. measures 29 through 32 next. We have A7 and A minor 7 to D7, 2 beats each, of course, and then a G6. And then the turnaround is D minor 7, G7. Okay, so we have in place of A7, we have A9, which is kind of a nice warm voicing and substitution for A7. It's still a dominant chord, so it works. And then A minor 7, and then D7 sharp 9, and then G6. So the D7 sharp 9 is also referred to by a lot of people as the Jimi Hendrix chord, because Hendrix used to use that in a lot of his tunes, and as well as Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's kind of a common bluesy rock chord, I guess you could say. And then a G6, and then a D minor 7, G7 is the turnaround. And what is a turnaround? The turnaround is the last two chords in the song that get the song back to the top and repeat without much effort. And it's not quite as boring as going G6. Let's say you're doing G6 for 2 bars instead of that. And then just going right to C major 7. And you're starting over, so you're going. So that's really, really boring. So if you do this, that's more interesting because there's a lot of going on there, a lot of movement. So, yeah. Then the song starts over. Now when the song ends, though, you are going to end on some sort of G major type chord. G major, G major 13, I think I ended on. For the last chord. But anyhow, any kind of G major type, G major 7, G major 6, G major 13, G major 11, whatever you want to do. But as long as it's a major, it always works pretty good. And of course, when I say major, I don't mean I don't mean that. I mean this or this or this. Okay. Now we're going to take a look at the actual chords I'm using throughout this piece. And if you email me your address, or just email me, I can send you this chart of boxes for chord voicings. If you're interested in obtaining this, I can send it to you. Just let me know if you want it. Anyhow, that's pretty much all the chord voicings I'm using. And you notice I'm also playing a walking bass line when I'm doing this with the drum machine, or in this case, band in a box drum machine. But anyhow, that's a good thing to practice with too. You can get your rhythm chops pretty exercised when you play with the drum machine or band in a box type of arrangement. Okay, so let's take another look now at the chord chart. And there it is. And this is straight out of the real book. So this chart is basically, if anything, it's probably a little simpler than the real book, but I think it's exactly the same as the real book would be if you saw that. So this should apply to what you're used to seeing. Now when I apply this to a band in a box, for example, using drums and a bass line, and I'm not going to play my walking bass line, I'm just going to let the software do that for me. But I'll still be using basically the same voicings, and you can see that it will sound pretty much the same. Let's give this a try here. So I hope this gave you some help in the chord substitution area. The best way to use chord substitution or simple subs is to take a chart you're used to playing and just use 1 or 2 new chords per 4 bars. You don't have to go crazy and do a different chord per beat, you know. Unless you're Joe Pass, then you can do it. But just, you know, a chord here and there. Don't try to overdo it. Make them really easy chords, and slowly integrate the new chord voicings into your chart. And so every time you play the chart, it sounds a little bit different, not exactly the same, and that's what you want. And you have to be kind of careful if you're playing with the melody of the song, because sometimes your chord voicings can get in the way of a melody. So it's better to stick pretty close to the original chart while the person's playing the melody, the sax player or the horn player or the singer is singing the melody or whatever. Just don't overdo it with the chord voicings and the chord subs until the soloists start taking solos. And then you can go crazy and play all these wild chord subs and have fun with that. But be really careful that your chords don't interfere with the melody. Most notably when you're doing flat 7, doing flat 9, sharp 9, make sure that they don't interfere with the actual melody of the song. Otherwise you'll get dirty looks from the lead singer. So my basic approach is to take any major chord and use it in place of another major chord. I don't mean the major triads, but I mean just major 7 and major 6 and on up from there. Any minor chord, use in place of another minor chord. Minor 7, you know, in place of that, use minor 6, minor 9, minor 11, minor 13. For dominant chords, simple substitutions are like for F7, for example, you know, F13, F dominant 9th, or just F9. You don't have to say dominant, but F9, F7 flat 9, F7 sharp 9. But once again, be careful that you don't interfere with the sharp 9. That's kind of a risky one to play with a melody. Be aware of that. Okay, and then for let's see, what am I missing here? For the minor 7th chords, you could do minor 7 flat 5, minor 11, okay, dominant 7 flat 5, down a half step, but be careful again because you have to know where you're going. If you're going there, that works great. For example, B minor 11, B flat 7 flat 5, A major 7. That's a real common sort of a samba. Or bossa nova. That's a common substitution right there. This is my first video in the series of jazz guitar type ideas, concepts, substitutions. I intend to do a whole bunch of videos regarding that, and including improvisation and playing melodies to songs and so on. So anyhow, thanks a lot for watching. I hope this helped you a little bit, give you some ideas for your own to start using into your own playing. If you want any of these two charts, just email me and I can email them to you as a PDF. Okay? Again, thanks for watching. Have a good day.